Welcome to Coffee House Whispers. If you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss a chilling tale. Pour yourself a cup, get cozy, and prepare to dive into today's mystery. From the supernatural to the downright creepy, we're about to explore a story that will leave you questioning what's real. So sit back, relax, and let's unravel today's tale together. Just be careful. You never know what secrets might whisper from the shadows. The Legacy of Blood, a family's dark secret. The first time Avery heard about the legacy, she was 10 years old. It was whispered to her by her mother in the dead of night, words heavy with generations of sin. Every member of our bloodline must take a life before their 21st birthday, or the shadow will come for them. It has always been this way, and it always will be. Avery laughed then, thinking it was another one of her mother's grim bedtime stories meant to scare her into obedience. But the truth settled in over the years like a sickness. She saw it in the empty, haunted stares of her relatives, in the locked basement doors, in the sudden disappearances of neighbours no one dared to question. When she turned 16, her father sat her down in his study, the room thick with the scent of old books and something far worse. "It's time to start thinking about your first," he said, his voice devoid of emotion. "The longer you wait, the harder it becomes." Avery felt the bile rise in her throat. She'd always known the day would come, but she had spent years convincing herself that she could outrun it, that she could be different. She refused to take a life. At first her family thought it was a phase. They gave her time, whispered reassurances, even tried to tempt her with potential victims, ones who deserved it, ones who wouldn't be missed. But Avery wasn't like them. She couldn't be. Then the warnings became threats. "The shadow doesn't forgive," her grandmother said one night, clutching Avery's wrist with fingers like steel. "It will take you, piece by piece. It will make you suffer. It will make us suffer. Do you understand?" Avery didn't respond, but she understood. She saw the fear in their eyes, the way even her father, the cold, ruthless patriarch of their family, shuddered at the thought of the shadow's wrath. She had spent years trying to deny it, but she had seen its work firsthand. An uncle who had tried to run, found days later with his insides hollowed out, his face frozen in an expression of unspeakable horror. A cousin who had resisted, screaming that she would never take a life, until something came for her in the night, and all that was left in her room was a thick, black stain on the walls. But the moment that truly sealed her resolve happened when she was 17. One night, she stumbled upon her older brother Daniel in the basement. She hadn't meant to see anything, she'd only followed the strange noise out of curiosity. But there he was, standing over a bound man, a knife in his hand, his face eerily calm as he pressed the blade into the man's throat. Avery had frozen, unable to breathe as she watched the life drain from the man's eyes, her brother's expression never wavering. When he looked up and saw her, he simply wiped the knife clean, his voice chillingly even. "You'll have to do it too, Avery," he said. "You might as well get used to it." That night she didn't sleep. She couldn't. She had to find a way out. Avery had a choice to make, become a killer or risk something far worse. But she had already made up her mind. A month before her 21st birthday she fled. She ran with nothing but the clothes on her back, a duffel bag of cash, and the knowledge that if she was caught, she wouldn't live to see the sunrise. She changed her name, burned her fingerprints away with acid, disappeared into the world with a desperate hope that the shadow, whatever it was, wouldn't find her if she no longer bore the name of her family's cursed bloodline. For a while, she thought she had succeeded. Then the dream started. At first they were small things, a voice whispering her name in the dark, shadows curling at the edge of her vision. Then they became worse. Suffocating blackness pressed down on her chest, whispers turning to screams, waking up with scratches on her arms and bruises that hadn't been there before. She knew deep down that the shadow had found her. The night of her 21st birthday, the lights in her motel room flickered and died. The air grew thick, suffocating, pressing against her lungs like a vice, and then she heard it, her mother's voice, distorted and broken. "Come home, Avery. It's the only way." Avery clenched her fist. "No!" The darkness around her twisted, coiled, took form. Something loomed in the corner of the room, its shape wrong, its eyes pits of hunger. "Then you will be ours." The pain came first, ripping through her like jagged claws, sinking deep into her bones. She fell to her knees, choking on her own breath. She saw visions of her ancestors, of the blood they had spilled, the lives they had stolen, and the price they had paid when they failed. Then she understood. It wasn't the killings that fed the shadow, it was the fear. Avery forced herself to her feet, every part of her body screaming in agony. She staggered toward the door and the darkness surged forward to swallow her whole. But she didn't run. She turned to face it. "You don't control me," she whispered, even as blood dripped from her nose, even as the force of the shadow pushed against her skull like it meant to crush her. For the first time, it hesitated. "You've always needed us more than we've needed you," she said, her voice steady despite the agony. "You need us to believe in you. You need us to be afraid." The darkness trembled. Avery took a step forward, then another. She reached out, and the shadow recoiled like a wounded animal. With every step, the pain lessened. The whispers faded. The room grew lighter. The power it had over her, the hold it had on her family, it was all built on a lie. She walked through the door, leaving the shadow writhing behind her. As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, Avery kept walking, never once looking back. The shadow had lost its grip on her, but the legacy would never stop hunting. They would come for her. They would try to drag her back. But she had made her choice, and for the first time in her life, she was truly free. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more chilling tales. Stay safe and beware of what lurks in the dark.